In this video, we'll be exploring iMAP software, our powerful tool for organizing and customizing DAW functions on your iCON controller. iMAP software is designed to enhance your DAW controller's functionality, making it easy to personalize your control surface. Let's start with a step-by-step guide on downloading and installing iMAP. First, you're going to want to go to iconproaudio.com and go to a product page. In this case, I'm using the V1M DAW controller. And then if you go to the download section, you'll see that there's a version that's available for Mac and PC. And you're going to want to follow the on-screen instructions to download the version that you need. Now that we have that done, let's take a look at the iMAP interface. So the main screen in iMAP provides an overview of your controller showing all available panels and controls. One of the key features to note is that iMAP supports 3 DAWs simultaneously. So in my case, I've assigned Bitwig to DAW 1, Logic Pro to DAW 2, and Ableton Live to DAW 3. I do this because I might use Logic for something like scoring to picture and Ableton Live for composing the music for a segment in the video that I'm scoring to. So it's really easy to configure your DAWs. First, I want to go and select the DAW using one of these 3 buttons, and then I want to select the controller that I'm using from the list here. In this case, I'm using the V1M, and I do have a V1X as well, which is an extender and fader bank for the V1M. Then you can see when I have the DAW highlighted for the DAW slot in iMAP, I can select any of the supported DAWs from the list. And iMAP works off Mackie Control Protocol, so a large number of DAWs are supported. You can visit iconproaudio.com to learn more about your DAW and support. So again, once we have our DAWs assigned, we can press the button on our controller to access functionality. And you can see that on my controller and on the touchscreen, I have some pre-configured options depending on the DAW that I'm on. For this example, we're going to take a look at Ableton Live. So I'm just going to pull up an Ableton session, and let me pull up iMAP. And here we go. So you can see that we have several screens or function layers, and you can access them by pressing the buttons on your controller. There's a blue function layer, a green function layer, an orange function layer, and then 2 user banks. Now these correspond to the button functions in iMAP. So I'm going to click on this orange tab, and you can see that this first one on your screen is kind of outlined in blue, the second one in green, yellow, and if I scroll down, we have kind of this purple and red. So one of the really cool things is that anything you're doing in iMAP software will be instantly changed on your controller. So it gets really powerful when you go to customize iMAP to create a workflow that works for you and kind of go outside some of these pre-configured suggested settings. Here's one example of this. So in my session, let's say at bar 17, I want to add a marker, just maybe denoting a chorus or a verse. I can just hit marker on my controller, and you see it added that here. And I'm just going to rename that to verse. And then maybe at bar 33, I want to add another verse. So I'm just going to hit marker, bam. We have one added. I'm going to say verse 2. But now let's say that we want to change where these buttons are on our controller. We can do that in iMAP. So I'm just gonna pull up iMAP, and let's say I want to move marker in between the locators, so that locators basically jumps from one locator to the other, and the marker is gonna create a new locator. I'm just gonna drag by dragging the button in iMAP, and I'm gonna drag it to the middle of the locators, and bam, you can see right away this has changed on our controller. So iMAP in the software is where we go to change and customize our controller to suit our needs. I'm just gonna move that back for now. And you can see it instantly snaps right back when I move it in iMAP software on the controller. You can also do things like deleting functions, or adding new functions, or adding various hotkeys, or programming MIDI, and I'll show you that now. Some really cool things as we get into it. So in this list, we have our functions, but again, when you click on a key, you also see hotkeys and MIDI as an option. I'm just gonna go in and first, let's take a look at hotkey. And let's say in this empty slot, I wanted to add a hotkey to just add a new audio track in Ableton Live. Well, the key command in Ableton is Command T. So what I can do is just create a new, and let me go to this tab where we see it in iMAP also, so that our controller matches what we're looking at on the screen. But I'm gonna name this new audio track. And now that I've done this, I'm gonna hit click to change, and then we see a prompt to add a new hotkey. Please press a key combination now, Command T, and it registered that on my keyboard. And now when I hit OK, you can see right on our physical controller, we have a button for new audio track, and we also have this in the software. And let's say I wanted to move that to the far right. I can just drag it, and now it instantly updated on the hardware and software. So both are in sync. And just to double check on my work here, I'm gonna go here and let's press this button. Bam, here's our new audio track. So you can see that it's super easy to customize iMAP to suit your needs. Let's take a look at one more function that's really cool. In addition to creating these hotkeys for key commands, we can also program MIDI. So for this example, I'm just gonna go in and I'm going to create a new MIDI track, which in Ableton is Shift Command T. I could probably create something next to my audio track in iMAP as well, but I'm just gonna leave this here for now because what I really wanna show is how you can also assign MIDI commands and MIDI functionality in iMAP software. So for this track, what I'm gonna do is just drag in a default Ableton drum rack really quick. So this one doesn't have any sounds in it, but this is just for the purpose of this example. I could of course drag in a specific drum kit, but what I wanna show here in iMAP is if we go back, and now that I'm on MIDI, I'm going to assign MIDI note messages. So for the purpose of this example, let's say that I want to assign C1. I can just go and I'm going to click on this spot here in iMAP. I'm going to go to note. And I think we can go with channel 1 for now. And you see by default, it comes up as note 0 because that's the name here. But I'm just gonna call it C1. And now this note message is assigned, or the value. And then if I go here and do it again, let's do another note, and let's do C#1, and I'm just gonna rename this C#. I have to assign a channel first. And then C#. Cool. So now we have these two MIDI notes that we've created, C1 and C#1. And actually, let me just add the 1 just so we don't get lost here. Bam, added the 1. You could see it instantly updated on our hardware as well. And now when we hit these buttons, we can basically play, and I'm going to go to channel 10, but we can basically play MIDI notes. Now that I've assigned these notes, you can see we have them here in iMAP software. We also have them on the hardware, and that's just a quick and easy way for configuring MIDI note values, so we could trigger MIDI notes or trigger drum samples in our DAW, or anything else that we wanted to do in MIDI. In addition to note values, we can also program changes, pitch bends, CC for changing different patches in a synth, so this can go pretty deep. But again, in iMAP, you have your pre-configured modes for your different DAWs. In this case, I'm in Ableton, but if I go back to Functions and I go to, let's say, Bitwig or Logic, we have certain sections pre-mapped and then others where we can customize. But again, you can replace or redo all of the ones that are pre-mapped. That's just to help get you started. But you can see that using the function buttons, hotkeys, and MIDI, iMAP can be really powerful to customize your workflow and get everything configured exactly the way you want things, and have everything you do in the software instantly update on your hardware controller. I hope this helps you get a better understanding of iMAP and all of its powerful functionality. To learn more, visit iconproaudio.com.